Hey everyone, Dr. Sabrina Soltz here with my husband Zach.
Howdy.
And today's video is just going to be like a get to know us video because we've received questions like how'd you guys meet, what's it like having a carnivore marriage, and just actually wanting to know more about us, which I think is kind of cool. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I guess we'll start at the beginning.
At the beginning, how did we meet?
How we met. We met the old-fashioned way. We met in real life at a place called Lake Pleasant, specifically a part of Lake Pleasant called Humbug Cove or Party Cove. And it's this place, well, I should back up. It was Labor Day weekend. I was out on a houseboat.
8 years ago.
I was out on a houseboat with a bunch of my girlfriends, and we were in Humbug Cove or Party Cove. It's where all the boats go, and they just kind of like tie up to each other, and everyone just hangs out and parties. So I was just like hanging out in the water, floating around with some of my girlfriends, and I noticed him probably like 5 or 6 boats away. He was just like hopping across boats, and I literally just picked him out of the lineup, and I said to my friend that was with me, "That one's mine." He really didn't have to say.
I didn't have a choice.
He didn't have to say.
I didn't know what was coming.
So her and I had gotten into a fight earlier that day, and to make it up to me, she got out of the water in her drunken state.
She was very drunk.
And went to go get him.
Super drunk.
And his side of the story after she goes there.
Oh man, yeah. So her name's Kelsey. She's like 4 foot nothing, right? She's this tiny little person. Like she looks. I mean, I thought she was a child at first. To be honest with you, I was like, "Where are your parents?" She's like super drunk. She's like walks up to me and she can't look at me in the eye. She's like talking to me like this. I'm like, "Are you okay? Like, where's your family?" You know? And she's like, "My friend wants to talk to you." And I was like, "This sounds like a trap. Why is there a child telling me their friend wants to talk to her? Who are you? What's going on?" She's like, no, my friend in the water. And she points out in the water, and there's like 1,000 girls in bikinis in the water. And I'm like, which one? Like, what are you talking about? Which girl? And she's like, no, come on. I said, okay, that's fine. And so she like brought me over to her, and she's like waving at me through the water. I was like, I don't know. Do I know who you are? Who is this? And
didn't know who it was.
We didn't have any phones actually, because I've left my phone on a boat, and like, we didn't need our phones, and they don't work out there. So we turn them off, you put them in your bag or whatever, keep them dry.
Well, this was Sunday of a long weekend. I hadn't showered in days. Because we're on a houseboat, like we're just at the lake having a blast. Hadn't showered, no makeup on. Like I was as raw as you could meet someone. Like, well, if he likes me now, it's only up from here.
Yeah, we talked for like 2 hours.
We ended up talking for like 2 hours just on the boat there. And during that 2 hours, we planned our first date. We actually even planned a weekend trip.
We planned a first date, a weekend trip, and we did it back to back.
We
did both of those things.
Through like so fast. And I had to take his number down because he was at our houseboat. He didn't have his phone.
Yeah.
So he kind of had to trust that I was going to call it or text.
Yeah.
What was that like? This creepy girl.
Give me your phone. Yeah, but I mean, it is.
I think it's probably worth mentioning in this story your slutty backstory.
Yeah, I was a. She turned a hoe into a housewife.
That's my joke. That's what I joke and tell people, that I turned a hoe into a housewife.
I wasn't a hoe. I just I can't say that on YouTube.
Our children might see these videos.
Our children will watch these videos, yeah. But I mean, I guess I was. I had a lot of issues, and some of those issues involved using women to make my situation feel better. A lot of men do that. A lot of guys that behave that way. And I guess when you're juvenile, you kind of act. She grew me up. That's the way I say it, because she as soon as I met her, you met a real woman that makes you want to change how you behave and what you do, and how that changes your life. So that's when you know, right? And she did. From that moment on, I was different. I haven't been with another woman since. And
how many other women were you talking to when that happened?
I don't know. It was probably 2 or 3 at least. It was always at least 2 or 3. It was not serious though. It wasn't like I was trying. I never played the relationship game. I was never like looking for that. But again, you meet a woman. She was just strong and confident and tough, and you meet someone like that, it makes you want to change how you act, for sure.
I think this is a really great like side conversation because the other day he was at the gym and he was in the sauna, and I think this is worth sharing what you shared, because he was in the sauna and there was a bunch of other guys in there, and you tell the story.
Yeah, it was it was obnoxiously full, right? Because I go in the sauna every time I go to the gym just to like warm up and like before I leave, just to just something I do. And I was in there, and there's like all these young guys. They're all military age male, men. They're younger than me. I could tell. They don't look younger than me, but they're younger than me. I could just tell by the way they're acting. At least 10 years younger, and they're all like talking about stuff. And we got on the subject of the recent shooting and stuff. And I was asking like, so how many of you guys carry a firearm? Like this would have been the answer to this problem, is if everybody carries a gun, the bad guy is going to be outnumbered, right? And what I noticed is not a single one of those guys. There's 7 guys in there. They're all young, fairly like there's nothing wrong with them. Not like they were fat or overweight or something. A reason why they couldn't have a relationship. None of them were married. None of them carry a gun. What else did I say?
They all worked in like an office.
Oh yeah, they all worked in an office cubicle. And and I get that not everybody can some people are going to have to do that job. I understand that, but it kind of made me think to myself the difference between me and those guys, and why these are the same guys that complain about the women out there are terrible, and the women out there probably complain that the men out there are terrible, right? Because they're all looking for relationships, but these men have nothing to live for. They have nothing to fight for. And it's no wonder that our country is going to shit, because, like I'm 1 out of 8 in that room, and, they don't have kids. They don't have a wife. They sleep around. I heard them initially kind of talking about that. Like they were going, about going out drinking and stuff. And it's like, you have to, and all those things are fun, right? Because I did it too. All those things are great. But eventually it comes a time in your life where you realize that what holds value is, having something to fight for, or to push, or to make yourself want to be better for, because you're not going to ever improve yourself on purpose because you want to be better at going out and talking to girls next weekend, right? You're just not going to do it. You don't have a reason to, and you're not going to fight tyranny or government, whatever, bullshit the government's trying to pull next week. You're not going to give a shit because you don't have a reason to not put up with that. When you have a kid and you have a family and you have a good woman to I say you should always try to behave as if you are wanting to earn the right to be with them. Like even if you don't think, even if they do deserve you and you deserve them, you should think that you don't, right? So that you can try to behave in a way that shows that you want to deserve to be with them, whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be about money. As a matter of fact, if it's about money, it probably won't work, because it needs to be about who you are as a person and your character more than anything else. So
yes, I love when he goes on these little rants. Like I like selfishly, like there's so many times where I'm like, oh, I just wish I would have like hit record on my phone, because he just like drops these wisdom and knowledge bombs that I'm like, every man needs to hear this. And like, that's just a sample.
Well, this is a quote that like wisdom comes from, I don't know how the quote goes, but it comes from stupidity, right? I've done a lot of stupid shit, right? And I've made a lot of mistakes. I still make mistakes. I still, have
You learn faster now.
Yeah, I learn faster now, but I mean, I still do things that are detrimental to my future because I'm not thinking, but now I have, I can look back and I can see why I was doing those things. And it's because I did not have a reason not to, or a purpose, and a lot of men think that, getting a good job and making all this money and then finding, a trophy wife and that's not the purpose of life. That's not why we do it. We do it because we want that connection. We want that feeling of family. And a lot of people are not going after the feeling of family and connection. They're going after some hot girl or some job and this and that. And then when they get it, they wonder why they cheat, and they wonder why they do all these things to destroy that, and wonder why they're a shitty partner, because they're not doing it for the right reasons, right? They're doing it for selfish reasons. If people want to be in a great relationship, it has to be about giving. And of course, there's people that are going to be selfish, right? Sometimes either one of us are selfish, and it's there's the baby. It can't just be. You might have to give him a boob. Hey, buddy.
This is what happens when you fall in love.
Yeah, 3 times. I have 3 of these.
This is number 3.
We have 3 in case we lose one, or one doesn't make it. We have an extra.
But this is the purpose, right?
But yeah, but it was that. But the thing is that you want to be better as a person, and if you're not, my thing is when I started the relationship with her, I knew that I wanted it to be about being there for the other person, because we get trapped in these ideas of, oh, I want this relationship, and this person's got to have this person's got to have this. But if you're not willing to give those things, why do you think you deserve them?
I think this would also be a really good chance for you. Don't cry. How about share what you think the inflection point needs to be? Like if a guy's watching this and he's like, okay, so I've been doing all those things. I've been going out. I've been chasing the women. I've been chasing the jobs, the money, the title, the dopamine. How would you advise them to make that transition? Like, what do they need to do within themselves? What do they need to start looking for? How do they need to adjust things? Like, go on that. I'm gonna take care of this.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if you're looking for something, you first have to embody that in how you behave. And what happens is, I didn't know what I needed in my life, right? She saw me and she said, hey, I want that one, right? So there was something about me at that time that was projecting something that she knew that she wanted, right? So I think that that's how it works. If you want to be if you want a certain thing in your relationship, you have to be that person, and other people that want that will see it and they'll say, oh, wow, I didn't know that I wanted that. I want that, right? And you ended up getting that because the other person saw it. They said, oh, I want to come after you now, because it's more important to recognize the things that you want in somebody else than it is to go out and say, you try to say, oh, I want a person who meets these different things, because that always fails, right? Because the truth is even if, neither one of us are perfect. If she had 4 things out of 5 that I was looking for, that one thing could really piss me off, right? But if I'm focusing on giving those 5 things, she's going to in return want to give those back, right? So it stops becoming about what I'm not getting, and it becomes more about appreciating what the other person's doing for you or giving back. And I think a lot of relationships miss that.
Yeah, and I think it's also well intentioned too that people have like these checklists of like, oh, I definitely want these things in a partner, but I also don't want you to lose good in search of great or perfect, right? Like there, you can find a really good human, and maybe they're like, I don't know.
But there's me. I was in a pretty bad spot, right? I wouldn't have thought that I was a gem at that time, But and this is the other thing. It's like sometimes taking a chance on somebody gives them the courage that they need to be a better person. Because if you're worried, oh, look at that red flag. Well, yeah, and you know what? Maybe those red flags just end up being in a relationship that doesn't work. That's certainly possible. But if you give somebody a chance, and if you believe in them, and if you think, I just want to make them a better person or help them be a better person, even if that means it's not us being together, you don't lose in a relationship. Both people win.
Yeah.
But it's sad. I see it all the time. I post pictures of the family or like, how things that we have, and they say, oh, I wish I could have that. And it's like, stop wishing that you could have it and start giving it.
Put in the work.
Just start giving that to somebody else. Whatever it is that you want in your life, you try to make that come true for somebody else. And I guarantee you'll get what you want.
Yeah.
It'll come back to you, because that's how the universe works. It attracts like.
Yeah. Literal basic laws of the universe. But anyway, that was a total aside, and I love where that went, because I think it's important for anybody who is watching this. But I think people still want to know more about us. So we met, that's how we met. And we got married very soon after.
Well, so she was in medical school, and she was going to have to go back to Canada because she's here on a student visa.
I was done with medical school.
Yeah, you
I
were
had
done
done
with
boards. I had a job, but I was only allowed to work for 18 months with like my visa the way that it was.
Yeah, she was going to have to go home, and I was like, nope, you're not going home. What do we have to do to make you stay here? Oh, we're going to get married? Let's go. Let's do it. So that's what I wanted her in my life. I didn't want her to leave, and I stepped up to the plate and did what it took, right? That's the difference between a man and a boy, because a boy would have said, oh, well, I guess it's not going to work out. I'm not, not going to go after things that you want. But if you have something good, you don't take no for an answer.
Kind of funny story. Obviously, we were very much in love, and like still are, and clearly want to do. And it wasn't a situation where it was like, oh, let's just do it for the citizenship. It was like, no, let's do it because we want to be together. And so we actually had to go through the whole like citizenship process where you go for the interview and like they want to know for sure, like, is this real life? And he forgot to wear his wedding ring.
I was so stupid.
We get to the place and there's like these actual other couples there that have brought like photo albums of their wedding,
and
like
books. And here I am
bring
going
in
up.
a phone. Like
you can't bring a phone to show
bring
pictures.
nothing in to show anything. So like we just showed up, the two of us.
It's like, yeah.
He's not wearing his wedding ring. And like,
I was like, it'll be all right.
I was like, okay, well, they're gonna see us fight over this, so
Yeah,
maybe.
they're like, yeah, they're married. Yep. Like she's already bitching at him, yelling at him. They're like, yeah, see, that's it. They're gonna know that we're married.
Anyway, that was our first
It
interview.
worked
The
out.
second interview, we had our first child with us, so we're like, here, see,
Look,
look
we
what
made this. We made a baby. We made this. It was a funny story, but
Oh man! So yeah, we got married. We had like the best wedding.
and I made the joke when I was in there, and I was like, so I'm like, if we get into an argument, can I just like revoke this and just send her back home? And the lady was like, that's not funny. I was like, yeah, I thought it was funny.
Anyway, yeah, like legitimately flat out asked me if I was a terrorist. Like they just like ask you point blank. I'm like, do people say yes to this?
I was like, you're Canadian. We're not worried about Canadians.
Yeah,
Nobody's worried about Canadians.
we're gonna infiltrate with poutine.
Sorry, poutine. They're gonna destroy everybody
with cheese curds,
cheese, French fries,
and gravy.
So
anyway, we had the best wedding in Vegas on purpose. It was like a small wedding. There was like 30 people. It was the best time ever. It was so sweet. At the close of, we have this great picture of like us, like with our arms up in the air after we got married. Because as soon as it was done, like he kissed the bride, he turned around, he goes, "I win," and he shouts, "I win" to the whole thing, and it was really.
I have a video of it.
It was really cute. Yeah, so we got married. We had Zoe when we were like 2 years into being married.
Yep.
And that was our first daughter. We still went through like a whole bunch of stuff with our marriage. Like we have not had an easy marriage. We still had issues. We had so many things we had to overcome. There was so much growth for both of us professionally, personally. Like I obviously went through, you know, I had finished med school. I had met him after boards when I was like working my first like internee job position to then where I got hired for my first like real position, my second real position, to starting my business, to buying our first house together, our second house together. Like we went through so many points of growth, right? And then of course that brought us, we obviously got to carnivore at some point, which you guys are here on our channel. You're curious about carnivore. And people want to know like, what's it like having a carnivore marriage?
I think it's great because it's very simple. It's understanding, and then you don't get the like ups and downs that a lot of people that are on carbs all the time get. You know, I mean, I guess there's pros and cons to both, but in general, it's easier. The cleanup's easier. I think with my issues, like with Lyme and stuff, it's been a little bit more difficult because I have to kind of change what I eat more often because I start reacting to things that I eat if I eat it too often. So that's the biggest problem with me. It's not staying with carnivore. It's just having to switch it up and figuring out what the hell's trying to kill me now. You know, trying to cause an allergic reaction.
Yeah, cycling a lot of things. But I think that's a really good point. We had a video that we did before about how to talk to your partner about going on carnivore, and I think that has a lot of gems in there. But ultimately, at least I think for both of us, neither of us have any of the crazy ups and downs that come with excessive blood sugar, like spikes in.
We have the crazy ups and downs that comes with excessive children. Sometimes that can cause an up and down.
Listen, this is a complete aside. I figured out why parenting is so hard and like why it's so challenging is because like, here's the thing. You can't control anything around you at all. The only thing you can control is how you respond. Children give you a constant stream of things to respond to. So there is just this constant work of like self-control where it's just hard. It is hard to have that much self-control all the time. And it really pushes you to your edges and pushes you to your brink. And I do find that carnivore makes that a lot easier because I am at least nourished and balanced.
Yeah.
Like if anything, right? If I was hangry and my kids were freaking out, I'd be in a lot worse shape. If I was low on nutrients at all.
That's the cool thing is that the other part is I don't remember what being hangry was like, but I do know that I used to feel that way when and it's very irritating and very like, oh, I need to get something to eat. And I'm 100% certain that if you get hangry, that you have some form of insulin resistance.
Yes.
Like that is a sign, right? oh, I haven't eaten in 2 hours. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. Nah, you should be able to go 2 hours without feeling anything. Like
You can get hungry.
You can get hungry, right? But that
You
just
shouldn't get hangry.
Yeah, you shouldn't get hangry. Hungry should make you want to go do something. It should give you energy, and like say, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go make a steak, or I want to go do this. So if you get angry or tired when you're not eating, then there's probably something else going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think it does ultimately contribute to an easier marriage because we don't like. There's no strife. Like, what do you want to eat for dinner? Why isn't dinner ready? Where there's none of that really because everything's really easy. It's like,
yeah,
you know, true. There's no limit. Like we don't have to talk about sides. Like it's like the little things that tax, I think, a marriage on a daily basis, like the decisions of what you're going to eat or,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of eliminated those. And I think that makes for a smoother day in general, especially with kids. Like breakfast is eggs with maybe some other side of meat, like easy, done. Mm-hmm. Dinner is going to be meat. Lunch is going to be some form of meat, like done. And it's stuff that we've already got in the house. It's stuff that's readily available and it's stuff that everybody likes.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to cook too.
It is really easy to cook. So I think carnivore in a marriage, highly useful, highly beneficial. Where we're at in our marriage currently, some people ask like, what does Zach do? Because everybody just sees you shit post online, which is amazing and wonderful. And we love, we love all your posts. But some people are like, what is Zach? I'm like, okay. So obviously we know
they want to call my boss.
They do.
They want to be like, look, this guy's posting political stuff. I'm like, fuck you. I don't have a boss.
Listen, it's so funny. I'm going to share this story, but you guys probably know I'm a provider. I'm a physician. I have a practice in Scottsdale. And that's what I do as I see patients. I actually had somebody submit one of our online forms one time, basically tattletaling on him because he was mean on the internet. Like, listen, if you can't get on the internet and buckle up, you're going to have a lot more problems than my husband. Truly. Sorry. But yeah, he doesn't, you're not going to tell on him. You're not going to tell me anything I don't know. I've seen it all. I've been through it all. But no, so Zach, he obviously does carnivore coaching. So if you guys need a carnivore coach, reach out to him. He will walk you through that. He also runs and does distribution and everything for our supplements, our Oyster Boom. So we can actually drop the link to that too. It is the best oyster supplement on the market, hands down. It's amazing. I wanted to bring it to market because I take it and I love it. So it's the shit. Anyway, so he does that. And then, of course, he also takes care of our kids. So he is primary parent most of the days that I'm at work. And he rocks at it. Like, he can be a full-on strong masculine dude and hold it down with the kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talk about that.
What, kids?
No, talk about life as a stay-at-home dad.
Oh. Well, I don't really stay home. I don't know. People call it stay at home. I'm like, I don't stay home. I'm doing something. But yeah, it's a there's 3 kids is a challenge for sure. 2 is easy. I didn't realize that once you add the 3rd, it just like really changes the dynamics a lot. But it actually brought us closer together because now it's like we know we can't argue with each other because we'll lose, right? We have to be a team because we're outnumbered. If me and her start fighting and then the kids get in there, then all of a sudden they break us down. Now we've lost.
All hell breaks loose.
So we have to be a team because it's us against them. Not really, but that's how it feels sometimes, If
you're one of our children watching this in like 10 to 15 or 20 years, we love you. We love you dearly. Yeah, we do this for you.
No, they know that. But that's how it works because it's, you got to stand strong. And that's the thing. The parenting is just the consistency, it's being there when they need you.
And they need you a lot.
Yeah.
They're little. They're little right now. It goes by fast though.
And they they don't necessarily like the way that we eat carnivore because they go to school. Like Zoe goes to school and she sees all the different crap that other kids are eating, and I'm like, no, we're not buying that. She's like, I want these things. I said, no, we're not buying that. So they get mad and they protest. And
I'll say our rule. We have our quote unquote rule, and it's really simple. It's just meat first. Like, eat your meat first.
Yeah.
If you want to have something else, it's going to be what's in the house. So we might get like one or 2 off things in a month, maybe. And they can eat it until it's gone. And then that's it. And maybe another month or so, we might get something else for them to try. So they're not living this entire life of restriction, but we're certainly making them prioritize a way of eating that is very nutrient dense. Because ultimately, we want to raise healthy adults, right?
But I mean, we could tell a difference between Zen and Zoe. Who Zen was mostly red meat from age 6 months and up, and Zoe was we were eating vegetables and doing meatless Monday and all that crap before her. So. And there's a huge difference between them in their behavior and their growth. Like Zen's just large. He's thick. He's got his brain's larger.
His head's big as mine.
Yeah,
it's wild, and he's
crazy.
Not even 3 yet.
Yeah, he's 2.
He's just a big dude. It's
just
impressive.
We can tell the growth, like in how healthy they look, and like his teeth are perfect. I've never seen a 2-year-old's teeth this perfect, and Zoe's teeth aren't quite as perfect.
No.
And that has a lot to do with the food that they're raised on when they were growing.
We'll see even with this guy, because he got a carnivore, he literally was conceived on a prep of literally a pound of ribeye pretty much every day for a year.
Yeah.
Like, I was highly nutrient dense going into this pregnancy. Obviously, carnivore, ketovore, animal-based. I have a whole video on that on my personal YouTube channel about my pregnancy and how I ate. And then, of course, obviously being carnivore while he nurses. So a very nutrient dense baby over here. And so far, he is my best baby. Like, I did not know that babies could come this good. Like, I didn't. I didn't think babies came this good. He's a good baby. As far as sleeps really well. He doesn't fuss unless he absolutely needs something.
He never spits up.
And he never spits up.
Never spits up.
Oh my God.
She's 100% carnivore, and baby never spits up.
I had no idea.
I remember babies all the time,
just all wearing it.
Or you just be hanging out and you'd look over and you see a little white patch. Like, what happened there? I was like, oh, you were holding the baby. They spit up on you. You don't even realize. You got white spit up all over your shoulders all the time. He never spits up. Never seen him spit up.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Crazy.
Anyway, I think that was pretty fun. I think we'll leave it there for y'all. If you want to know more, let us know. This was a fun piece of topic to do. So yeah, let us know what other content you guys want to see from us. We are back to doing at least one video a week for you guys for the foreseeable future. So we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.